settled in my head. A lot of it's probably from singing last night. I'm hoarse. Um, I've got crud in my left eye.
This isn't mine. Huh. Somebody took the one I had. Good. Maybe it's food.
I'm gonna put this up here. I'll probably need it.
Good morning. Good morning. Oh, my hearing's a little bad. What did you say? Good morning. It's a chilly one out there. My name is Mike Wilcox. I've been a member of this congregation for 22 years, serving in various teams and committees, including 2 terms on the Board of Trustees. I'm assisting Doug this morning as a worship associate for this service. Welcome to our special place at the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the Quad Cities. We welcome all people into our beloved community, of whatever age, race, class, ethnicity, physical ability, sexual orientation, gender identity, or religious background. We welcome especially those joining us for the first time. We invite everyone to join us downstairs after service for coffee, snacks, and conversation. I want to make this opportunity to remind us of our covenant, which was approved by the congregation in May of 2023. The Healthy Congregation Committee then composed this condensed version for brevity's sake, but I encourage you all to read the full version, which is posted all over the building. Loving kindness guides us as we come together in a spirit of generosity, respect, empathy, mindfully aware of each other's inherent dignity and worth. Thank you for joining us this morning.
When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking
Good morning. I am Doug McCollum, and I use he, him pronouns. Our opening words today are from the poem To Remind Ourselves What Is Real by Elena Westbrook. In a world ravaged by violence, by hatred, by conflicts that seem eternal and insoluble, sometimes the only thing that we can do is be still for a moment, to remind ourselves what is real. The sun that rose this morning, the dirt under our feet, the air whispering in and out of our lungs. This hour, just try to be present in each moment as it unfolds. Your simple attention is what makes these moments holy. The theme for December is presence, as in being present in the moment. With meditation, we can escape words for a little while, but what if we can use words to be in the present? As Mike lights the chalice, let us all recite our chalice lighting words. In the light of truth and in the warmth of love, we gather to seek, to sustain, and to inspire. Please rise in body or spirit for our opening song, number 396 in the gray hymnal, I Know This Rose Will Open. The lyrics will also be projected on the screen.
I'll play it once, we'll sing it twice, and then we'll do a round. We'll sing it 4 times as a round.
Know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will furl its wings. I know this rose will open. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will furl its wings. I know this rose will open.
Please remain standing. Let's greet each other. In the spirit of love and fellowship, we now greet the holy in our midst by briefly greeting those around us, especially those who we don't know.
Thanksgiving?
No, one of my aunts and one of my grandma.
Oh, okay. Yes, John Carl.
I had mine at my grandparents' house.
Cool.
I had mine at Madison's house.
Whoa, cool.
I got to see my
Ooh, okay. All right, so we're going to try something today. Now, the grown-ups might remember this from a song they sang last week, but this is called Loving Kindness Meditation. Okay, so I'm going to have you guys repeat after me for the first time, all right? Okay, so we're going to repeat after me. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be whole. Good. Can we say it again? Let's try it all together, okay? May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be whole. Now, does anyone know what all that means? It's a lot, right? It's kind of you're wishing good things for yourself. Okay? Now, we're going to do something else. Now we're going to find a partner. Our grown-ups can do this too. And we're going to change the word I to you. So now we're going to wish good things for our friends. Katie, let's move over and find somebody to talk to. No? Okay. All right. May you be filled with love and kindness. Well, grown-ups, find a partner. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be whole. Oh, and now I have a challenge for everybody. Can we turn to someone that we don't know very well? You're my child. Okay, let's say it again. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be whole. Okay, are we ready to go downstairs?
Good morning. Good morning. I am Susan Perry, a member of the Pastoral Care Associates ministry team. As we gather today, we pause to reflect on what lies within our hearts. In this time of sharing, we take a moment to recognize our personal joys and concerns and to read from the book of Joys and Concerns, those personal life events you have chosen to share with us. There are no concerns in the book this morning. Are there any online?
Yes, we have a joy. Dennis Darlin, he stayed up really early, at 2 a.m. doing programming, and he got C++ working great. It was his first time, so it's really exciting.
That's good. And I do have one joy in the book. Diane and Hannah Harrington are happy to celebrate their mom, who is Ann's, birthday on Thursday. For what has been shared and for what remains in the quiet sanctuary of our hearts, we are grateful. Let us become aware of the energy that brings us together in beloved community as we share a time of silent meditation. May we open our minds and hearts to a place of quiet, to a silent prayer for the healing of pain and the comfort of love. You are invited to come forward and light a candle during the musical meditation that follows.
This congregation is a theologically diverse religious community, with membership open to all who are in accord with our values, mission, and vision. Our congregation is entirely self-governed by the democratic process. One of the privileges of our free church tradition is to provide all of the financial support to our many ministries from among ourselves. Generosity, therefore, is one of the spiritual values we recognize as central to our personal and institutional well-being. This month's undesignated plate offering will go towards the staff bonuses for Christmas here at the UUCQC. We invite you to participate in the blessing of giving as the ushers come among you to accept the gifts of the congregation. Please be as generous as you are able. For all the gifts of time and treasure that you give to this congregation with sincere gratitude, we thank you. Our reading this morning is from the Reverend Scott Taylor. Starting here, what do you want to remember? Are you waiting for time to show you some better thoughts? What can anyone give you greater than now? Starting here, right in this room, when you turn around. Unease, anxiety, tension, stress, worry are all forms of fear, are caused by too much future and not enough presence. Guilt, regret, resentment, grievances, sadness, bitterness, and all forms of non-forgiveness are caused by too much past and not enough presence. Nothing in the past is as powerful as what we can choose to do in the present moment.
Please pardon the hoarseness. I have a little bug. Plus, the band had a gig last night. Little burned out, all night partying, all that kind of stuff. So here we are. Slightly over a year ago, Mindy and I presented our reflections on our disabilities. Personally, I found it to be a powerful experience. Not so much my presentation from the pulpit, but the process of writing down my recollections. And very importantly, making sense of my memories and putting them in perspective. While writing last year's reflection, it became clear to me how those specific events from my life shaped who I am today. I'd been encouraged in the past to use autobiographical writing as a way to process my negative experiences with my hearing loss, but I had procrastinated for many years. More on that procrastination later. How many of you have ever kept a journal or a diary? For many people, journaling is a lifetime habit. Others may do it in moments of stress or during major life transitions. Psychological research suggests that we all might want to consider at least occasionally writing about our lives, especially those of us who don't consider ourselves particularly good at it. That's because researchers have found that expressive writing can improve mental and even physical health. It can help us work through challenges in our lives. Words are powerful. They affect our emotions, behaviors, motivations, and personalities. For example, recently I've been writing about the election and my fears for the future of our democracy and our world, especially how it may affect our grandchildren. And I think it has helped me prepare for activism, meaning resistance. Research has found that college students who've been traumatized and then write about it show fewer mental and physical health symptoms than those who don't. It gives them the opportunity to write about their deep, dark secrets, release their emotions onto paper, yet still keep it private. It's cathartic, and it can substitute face-to-face psychotherapy in many cases. The initial research in this field was conducted by Dr. John Pennebaker at the University of Texas in the 1980s. In studying college students who reported traumatic sexual experiences, he found that those individuals were not only more likely to present with psychological problems, but they had twice as many visits to the student health clinic than non-traumatized students. He also found that it wasn't necessarily the trauma experience that led to these outcomes, but the fact that the trauma was kept secret, and that in writing, those secrets were brought to the surface. He had these students write for 15-minute sessions for 4 days with instructions to explore their deepest thoughts. Write about how the traumatic experience related to other parts of their lives and let go of the secrets. If they didn't feel like writing about trauma, they could write about other life stressors. After writing, their subjective anxiety and depression scores were significantly lowered, along with improved physical health. Dr. Pennebaker expanded this approach to many other groups, including people laid off from jobs, people who have experienced the breakup of a relationship, more on that later, or the death of a relative or friend, and found significant reduction in clinical symptoms for all groups. Since the 1980s, there have been more than 2,000 studies on the benefit of expressive writing, 200 just in the last year. It does not have to be regular, like daily journaling, and actual handwriting, typing at a keyboard, or even speech detection software are all effective. Handwriting is a little bit more effective. The key, of course, is putting emotions into words. Journaling can reduce stress and lower the intensity of trauma. It can create space and distance to consider thoughts in a more objective way. In other words, the traumatized person is not defined by those thoughts, memories, emotions, trauma, or physical symptoms. It's not who they are, but rather the person is put in the context in which the trauma occurred. It's something that happened to them. Journaling provides a pause to help us reconnect and rediscover who we are. When we write, we learn our preferences, pain points, fears, favorites, and dreams. We are constantly evolving. Journaling helps us listen, bear witness to these changes, and to know ourselves better. Besides writing about trauma and difficult events, there are other types of journaling. One of them is gratitude journaling. Even during difficult times, it is helpful to take stock of what we are grateful for. For example, the day after the election, many of you were present for the group session with pastoral care in which we emotionally revealed our fears. But we balanced that with gratitude for each other and the strength that we take from each other. Journaling can be a substitute in times we can't do that in person, or it can augment the experience after having an in-person connection. Another type is reflective journaling. It's thought to aid the processing of emotions from real-life experiences. You start by reflecting on the details of the experience and then attempt to interpret the event to try to understand what happened and find meaning or value in it. Several years ago, I had a totally unexpected argument with someone close to me. And before you know it, this conversation became laced with significant profanity, and this person told me that he never wanted to see me again. I let this fester in my mind for a few years, and then I finally decided to write about it. I found an immediate reduction in anger, which was my predominant emotion up till then. I started to realize that the operative word, estrangement, can occur seemingly unexpectedly. But in reality, it was probably building for some time, meaning that it wasn't this specific argument that caused the estrangement, but that the seeds of the breakup were there for a long time. Since I wrote the letter, since I wrote in response to him, I have made several attempts to reconcile, but I have received no meaningful response. However, I feel that I gave it my best shot, and the writing had a lot to do with reconciling my thoughts and emotions. Things sometimes seem unexpected or shocking at the moment, but in retrospect, there were hints. This seeds of the breakup hypothesis has been studied recently by Pennebaker. He eavesdropped on X, formerly Twitter, chat rooms dealing with romantic relationships. Since real names were not used, eavesdropping did not violate confidentiality or privacy. When a person tweeted, he or she broke up with me and it came out of the blue, an analysis of tweets as far back as 8 weeks found obvious signs of a pending breakup. So be careful of what you Twitter. Health journaling is another approach. Some studies have looked at the impact of writing about current health conditions like cancer. Like other forms of expressive writing about emotional experiences, this type of journaling appears to result in reductions in depression and anxiety for those with severe health conditions. Given that 25 to 30% of cancer patients report significant depression and or anxiety, this approach is certainly warranted. This figure applies to many other diagnoses as well. Combining these two approaches, reflective and health, I wrote a therapeutic reflection about a year after my cancer diagnosis and treatment in 2013. It was a meaningful way to process the grief reaction sequence from denial to acceptance. By the way, these reactions aren't necessarily a prescribed sequence. Of interest is the fact that important dates, date of diagnosis, date of surgery, date of starting radiation therapy, and last day of radiation were easily remembered. They still are. About that time, I began volunteering as an outreach worker for Gilda's Club at Trinity Moline. As I talked to cancer patients at various stages of treatment, similarities in our stories became more obvious. The other commonality, besides remembering important dates, was the almost universal practice of Googling the diagnosis and reading the negatively presented information on life expectancy. Now in my volunteer work at Cancer Center, I emphasize personal stories that people are composing even in their minds. I often say to them that every cancer patient has their story. You're composing your story, whether you choose to write it down formally or not. People often remember not only important dates, but where they were when the cancer was diagnosed and what others said or did. It is, of course, very helpful to share their story with other cancer patients and survivors in a setting like Gilda's Club and or journal about this. Obviously, listening to other stories helps to create the supportive environment that develops in group settings. I believe that my story work with patients in treatment increases the probability that they will follow up with journaling or participating in groups. 15 years ago, I was on the other side of the desk in a clinical psychologist's office. This person's practice is exclusively with people with hearing impairments, and I had read several of his books. I finished telling him my life story, much of what you heard almost exactly a year ago, and he said, "You need to write your autobiography." I'm sure I balked, and he said, "Okay, if not that, write the table of contents to your autobiography." In retrospect, this was likely a therapeutic strategy he used with many of his patients. Well, 14 years later, I finally did it, and it led to my reflection last year. Autobiographical journaling can enhance communication and writing skills, and in my case, led to incredible insights. In starting this task, it may be helpful to first write the table of contents chronologically. You can start writing in any chapter, work forward or backward on how events, people, and places connect to each other and how they led to the person you are today. It's like weaving a tapestry or making a chronological collage of photographs. Reflect on what your defining characteristics and qualities are. How did these different events shape you as a person? What challenges did you face in your life? And how were they overcome? What impact did other people, family, friends, teachers, mentors have on your life? What are some of the lessons learned? What are the values that have motivated you at different stages of life? How have you forgiven yourself for major mistakes made during younger stages? How do you refrain from defining yourself by those mistakes or labels? You've already heard my story about my lifetime experience with hearing loss. I certainly won't repeat it now, but I'm happy to share it further if somebody wants to talk about it later. So, in conclusion, I hope that you have learned something about the power of writing about your own thoughts, feelings, and experiences. Writing in private, when no one else is aware of the product, can be extremely meaningful. The power is in the reading process, which is solitary. It can lead to the pages being destroyed immediately if you so choose. You don't have to share it with anyone for it to be helpful. If it's effective, you will be expressing a new attitude, increased emotional stability, and insights. Now, please rise in body or spirit for our closing song. Number 1028 in the Teal hymnal, "The Fire of Commitment." The lyrics will also be projected on the screen. Please remain lifted up as we extinguish the chalice and join in the unison reading. We extinguish for this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
You have probably noticed that last Sunday we tried for the first time to have announcements at the end of the service. Of course, we just can't try once and decide if it works. So for a little while, our announcements will be between the chalice extinguishing and closing words. Please note, if you have an announcement for a Sunday service, please send it to the office at uucqc.org by 12 noon on Thursday before the service. Today, we do have a few announcements. This is from the worship staff, Reverend Sabrina Gates Thomas and Tiffany Kaldenbach. We have an organized training on Saturday, December 7th at 1 p.m. in the boardroom. Childcare will be provided. We encourage all to participate. If you are part of the RST, Religious Services Team, Pastoral Care Team, Slides, or Welcome Teams, we would like you to attend too, to be aware of the changes that will be implemented starting in the new year. Even if you don't want to be involved in planning, leading, or assisting with the worship service. For any questions, please reach out to Reverend Sabrina, minister at uucqc.org. In another announcement, this is from Stephen Pickerel. The Leadership Development Committee, LDC, is looking for current leaders and emerging leaders within their church who would like to broaden their leadership skills. Those leaders will be meeting on Saturday, January 18th and Saturday, January 25th from 10 a.m. till noon each day. We will be discussing and participating in a few of the workshops and activities that are within UUA's Harvest the Power curriculum from 2020. Harvest Power is a UUA program developing leadership in a congregational setting through a deeply spiritual experience. Participation in this year's event is limited to 12 people. The Leadership Development Committee is currently trying to arrange childcare for this event, which will be held exclusively in person. For more information, please email Stephen Pickerel at StephenPickerel7, all one word and number, at gmail.com, or speak to him during the social hours. I don't think Steve is here today. Well, Steve, please stand so people know who you are. Finally, let me draw your attention to the additional announcements printed on the back of your order of service.
Our closing words today are from Richard Gilbert. May awareness lead you on your way. May you always be where you are, free from the quicksand of the past, and let loose from the imagined fires of the future. And may you always hear the precious present calling us home. As we come full circle from the prelude, and with credit and apologies to Paul McCartney, written words of wisdom, let it be. Go in peace. You may be seated. You already are for the postlude.